Yeah, I mean, to just kind of sum it up, it's gaming with non-fungible tokens, decentralized assets, essentially in-game items that are yours that you get to keep and trade and actually has real value and ownership as opposed to just something that's ones and zeros controlled by the owners of the game.
Well, happy New Year's, you guys, and welcome to 2020. Also, just this last weekend was the 11th birthday of Bitcoin. Woo! Happy birthday, Bitcoin! What happens on January 3rd? What do we know that day as?
January 3rd. Well, January 3rd, we have Proof of Keys Days. If you guys know how blockchain and Bitcoin works. As you know, you have private and public keys. And in order to make sure that exchanges actually have the monetary value of Bitcoin that they say they claim, Proof of Key Days is basically you withdrawing your money from the exchange and keeping it on a cold storage wallet or a hardware wallet, and just basically getting your money off the exchange. You shouldn't store your money there anyways. If you do then I wouldn't recommend it. It's not that's how companies get hacked and people lose their Bitcoin, because sometimes they leave it on exchanges that are not reliable. But that's basically what Proof of Keys Day is, and it just so happens to be also Bitcoin's birthday. Bitcoin is now 11 years old, and that is when the first Genesis block was mined. That's when Satoshi got those first 50 Bitcoin mined and running for the sake of the world, where we know Bitcoin now. So apart from it being Bitcoin's birthday, it is also a day where we do a run on the exchanges, kind of like a run on the banks. If everyone went to the banks and took all their money, it's essentially the same concept. We're just doing a run on the exchanges.
Makes sense. That's a great way to start the celebration of the new year, making sure that exchanges that hold your funds actually have the funds that they say they're holding. How'd you celebrate your New Year's, guys?
So for my New Year's, I actually was downtown. I live in Miami, for those of you guys who don't know. And if you guys are into blockchain, Miami Blockchain Week is next week. So that's a super exciting week to be in Miami. A lot of free events and meetups for those of you guys who may be in Miami and are watching or are here. In addition to that, for my New Year's, I was basically downtown at a kitchen giving food to people instead of celebrating it on my own. But it was rewarding, but I was very tired and got a lot of stains on my shirt, but it was fun.
Yeah, mine was pretty uneventful. I worked New Year's Day, stayed at home, just kind of waited for the countdown, went outside and enjoyed it, went back inside, looked at the, markets, saw where the Bitcoin price was at and, the rest of the market, and then, went to bed and yeah, as I said, pretty uneventful.
Sounds like a day.
Yes,
with me,
indeed.
I was here in virtual reality.
Sounds like a day.
It was a day, I was here in virtual reality on New Year's, checking out what's going on in Altspace and other platforms. Also, I wanted to reflect on how technology has really changed from, Y2K in the beginning of the decade in 2000, when not everybody had access to technology and being able to be in virtual reality on New Year's Day. You look at the difference of time and what's happened with the internet as well as now with the blockchain, and you can really see how this technology is progressing and changing our lives. Over the last 10 years and now 11 years with Bitcoin being 11, how has Bitcoin changed your life?
Bitcoin. So I personally got into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency about almost going on 3 years now. It hasn't been too much of a long run for me, but since I got into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I was in college. when I first started, and I was in school for health administration. Basically, the person who runs the office at a health center and tells the people what to do. And ever since when I was in college, I wanted to stop the program, but I was basically halfway through by the time I, just discovered, oh, maybe I don't want to do health administration, which, I mean, schools don't prep you at all for the real world. Like, it's crazy. I wish, now that I know how this works, having immigrant parents who, came from a different country and school, education, is everything, but like schools really don't prep you for the real world. And now that I know that, I hope to prep my kids better for the real world. But basically, in the midst of that program, I started learning about blockchain and cryptocurrency. And even blockchain, it ties into the healthcare field a lot. Like there are, healthcare opportunities that have to do with blockchain. IBM does that. IBM has they're IBM, they're a tech company, but they have medical solution databases for companies. They have pharmaceutical solution databases for companies. And that goes back into the hospitals because those hospitals use those databases. And, if I was to continue my career in health administration, I would be using those databases. So, I mean, blockchain pretty much ties into everything. And after realizing that, I decided not to do health, but I decided to start a media company instead and teach people about blockchain. And this week, like I said, it's Miami Blockchain Week down here in Miami. So I'll be literally all over Miami at different events, North American Bitcoin Conference, Washington Elite. Crypto.com is going to be here. Who else? There's going to be parties. Charles Hoskinson is having a Lambo race. That's going to be fun. We're going to have, Charles Hoskinson is having a Lamborghini race. It's going to be super cool. What else? There's parties at the Crypto Castle. There's parties at the Bitcoin Mansion. And if you're a student by any chance, all these programs are free to you. If you are a student and you just so happen to be in Miami, come out. If you go to blockchaincenter.com, there is information for everything on here because every single program is free to students. And if you just so happen to be a student and you want to go to blockchain events around the world, Blockchain Education Network, BEN for short, gives you free tickets, flights, and visas if you need a visa all around the world. So that's a pretty cool perk. So if you guys are into blockchain and you're a student, you can go for free around the world. So again, Blockchain Education Network for that one.
That sounds like an amazing way for Bitcoin to really change your life. And
it is amazing. I wish I knew about that when I was in school.
Right? Not just in that terms, but also what you said about how, getting started with Bitcoin just a couple of years ago and really gotten to this point now where you're the host of Bits and Tokens. Full disclosure, I'm also part of Bits and Tokens, but I'm so excited to see what's going on with this technology and where we're going in Miami with this conference. Brian, I want to know a little bit about your experience with Bitcoin and how this technology has changed your life. And if you can also move over one more seat so that way the camera has all three of us next to each other.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully that makes it a little bit better. So same with Annalise. I've been, in the space, in the, crypto and blockchain space for, roughly, 2 a little bit longer years now. I really started to get in right when Bitcoin was at that peak at about 20,000. And, so far it's really been more of like an educational experience, really, learning what the technology can do, what, cryptocurrency and blockchain can do, really just from like the financial sector to, as we kind of discuss and as I, make most of my content on crypto games and, in-game assets, non-fungible tokens, really just digital items that have a real value as opposed to just, ones and zeros that are in a server that don't have any value attached to it, that, maybe has an in-game marketplace or, a very secluded niche market, but nothing that people can, transfer easily, especially, from other countries or across the world. And, from just, looking up, trading and how I can use it financially, buying crypto as opposed to, fiat and sending it instantly to, all these decentralized applications, from exchanges to games to really whatever you can think of that, if you can make it on the, web, you can make it on the blockchain. So really it's very similar to the internet in most ways, as a lot of people have probably heard by this point, and what it can do. And so far it hasn't been life-changing to me, but I know as it continues to, be developed and expand and more mass adopted, that it's going to be, world-changing as opposed to, just to individuals. And eventually it's going to be to the point where we don't even realize we're using blockchain, where we're just, go to the bank and we give them money, and then they're, using a decentralized ledger running on a blockchain, and, they don't even tell us about it. So that's, that's the day I'm waiting for, and, maybe it's right around the corner. We don't really know quite yet. But
you got two great perspectives of millennials here that have seen this technology and allowed it to advance their life in different ways. I'm excited to see where both of you go forward with your future utilizing this technology. I love seeing what you guys are doing with the content that you're able to gather and create because of this technology. Tell us more about the communities you are creating and encountering as you talk more about this technology. Let's start with you, Annalise.
My mic's muted, just kidding. Sure. So, in terms of communities, I'm based out of Miami. I'm part of Bits and Tokens. I am the host for Bits and Tokens. So the way I even started crypto, kind of just right off the bat, started building a following and a community. I decided to learn about cryptocurrency, and at the same time as I was teaching myself, I decided to report about it. And I would put it online, and it was kind of like a refreshing way. Like, you didn't get, somebody who does TAs all the time and is trying to explain crypto to people. You're getting someone who literally is learning with you on the other side of that camera. So a lot of people like that. And from there, I expanded to going to conferences and really just learning for myself, like, what this community had to hold for me and why I was getting into it and was it worth it. And I mean, I think now is when I have a better understanding of, what really crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain is, and, how it helps and how it can help people. A lot of people, talk about crypto and they talk about the getting rich quick scheme. That's a very popular term that you'll hear. Even Richard Branson recently stated that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically was a get rich quick scheme, which it's not. And I'll tell you why. And this ties back into the education. Reason being, if you know how chart works, if you know how money works, if you know how the Federal Reserve works and how the history of currency has worked, even within the United States, if you look globally around the world, there's currencies failing literally every day. Greece is in a major recession. Venezuela, everyone knows about Venezuela and all the things that they're going through. Their coin literally being devalued at 95%. And then places like Argentina, where you can deposit your money in a bank and the bank might say no to you when you want to take it out. That is why cryptocurrency is important, because it's a different way for people to not only have better control of their money, but it's just another currency. And that's the way we should look at it, because currencies historically change out every 50 years. And even growing up as a kid, I would see, like, my country's like dollar, like I'm Dominican, for example, like you would, my grandpa has money from, I want to say, like the 50s all the way scaling up to now, and like even seeing the different bills, and they would change the value and it would inflate and it would deflate. And that's how money works. It's not something that people like can fathom here in the US, I feel like, because we're so used to the dollar. But the dollar is only like 50 years old. The way that our system works now is not that old. But I guess because everything is government, we can't fathom that. So that's something that I kind of like specialize in. I like to push that concept. Recently, I went to North Carolina and I visited one of the museums, and that's where a lot of like the Confederate, war was going on, and the whole thing with the South and the North, and President Lincoln was going into office at that time, and you would learn about the notes and the banknotes that they would have, and it was really interesting, all the way I think into like the 1950s when they finally like got like the monetary system like together. But before then, like the United States was not how you think it is. It's not what you I guess envision it to be. It wasn't always this way. So I want to emphasize that point. Yeah, I want to emphasize that point to people because a lot of them don't get that and they don't understand that concept. So that's my 2 cents. That's what I like to do when it comes to education. And then of course, social media is probably the best way. You can find me and Bits and Tokens. We're always out in the community. We go to conferences all the time. We're always posting stuff about conferences. So yeah, Brian.
No, just before you get to Brian, just that's a great way to show how she's grown in this community and met more and more people by going out to events and going from talking to one person, that brother or cousin or friend that would have told you about Bitcoin, to getting out and going to meet other people that are not just looking into and reading about Bitcoin online, but creating companies and engaging with others, doing fun things that they want to do rather than being in an office. Brian, I want to know more from you as well, how this technology has been opening you to different communities.
Yes, so unfortunately, unlike both of you, I live in Wisconsin, where it's a little more rural, where I'm not able to get out as much to go to these, in-person conferences and big events and whatnot. So, fortunately, the internet and fortunately, cryptocurrency and blockchain is mostly focused on the internet. So I haven't had too hard of a time meeting people and seeing exciting and new projects and things going on and getting involved with. And the amazing thing about, cryptocurrency and blockchain is, you get back to this original idea of decentralization. And the cool thing about that in a lot of projects that, people and projects and, the people running those projects think of when, working on it is let's keep it open, let's keep it decentralized, let's keep it, we want the people to be involved with the creation of it. So when you go and you look at a lot of these communities, at least the ones that, aren't dead or aren't scams or whatever, the real core active and, actual game-changing projects here have a very thriving community where, each person is putting their input and, giving their feedback and, testing it out. And you got all these alphas and betas and, these different, early builds and a lot of working on and fixing and improving a lot of these things that are coming out, these projects, whether it be games for the most part of what I've been researching, but just any decentralized application or any coin or token sale nowadays. I remember back in, I think it was 2017, where you had that whole ICO rush where everyone was, coming up with this, 5-minute coin to go and, sell and make millions. And, that brought a lot of people into it. And, unfortunately, once they all started going downhill, most of those people, saw the downsides of crypto and decided to get out of it. But, being in it and, talking to these communities, I've been able to, meet and, work with a wide variety of people, developers from games or developers on projects or just, people looking to use their skills for something productive and actually make something that, they don't have to go out and, move or, change locations that they can do online and at home and in their free time and really make a difference in their own personal way, which is really exciting. And through that, I created Block Decentral, which is essentially a decentralized community where, people can come together. The whole point was to, educate people on cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, what is all this, what's going on, what is trading, what's mining, how does all that work, and all that sort of thing, as well as, building something, using our collective knowledge and education to make something that we can give back into the community. At being gaming fans, most of us in the community, we decided that with so many crypto games coming out and in the works, and it being such a thriving and hot topic, that would be something that, we should look into. So, having decentralized kind of community working on a game or a project on the blockchain where there's going to be assets that actually have value that people can store in their personal wallet that they actually own and can, trade to people, and, they can go and, show their family, their uncle, their aunt, their grandma, grandpa, whatever, during the holidays and say, hey, check out this, digital item. It actually has a value to it, and you can go and show them the, value, what it's worth, say, hey, they're, buying it for $5, $10, whatever it may be online. And, just those people, love this technology, and it's where you really find the dedicated people, and those are the people that stick around, and that we've been able to, meet so many of, and really start working on a lot of things in the space for the better. Sorry, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent there, but
It's okay. No,
yeah, it's been,
I get
it's
it.
been
It's definitely a lot when you go from seeing about this technology online to talking to other people in the day to day, and not just talking to them, but building and collaborating to do something you're passionate about. I love what you did with Block the Central, creating events and doing them for, I believe, a year now.
yeah, it's been a little over a year, a year and a good few months now.
Just always informing people, making sure they're educated as to what's going on in this space without ever needing to leave his home. I think that's an amazing tool. There's a lot of companies that are doing something in a real world aspect. We know a company that I'll give them a shout out called Block Tech that does something similar in the real world by coming out to meetups. But being able to do that without having a physical location virtually, I think that's amazing. Seeing these communities go from the real world to the digital world with Twitter, and now to the virtual world with Altspace. Let's talk more about you guys' experience with going from physical to digital to virtual. Annalise, how's that journey been for you, growing through that transition?
From physical to virtual. So, just a little backstory about myself. I grew up without technology. I did not have a phone growing up. I didn't have really a computer. My parents were super strict on just like tech in general. And I can see why. The internet is not the most friendliest place for children. Definitely not. So I guess because of that, I feel like that has had to do a lot with just my on setting, but getting into crypto for me, it wasn't necessarily the hardest thing, because I didn't grow up with technology. It was very intriguing to me, and tech in general just became intriguing to me. Like, I was not someone who was into tech at all growing up. Like, it was not even because I didn't want to be, because my brother was a gamer. Like, he liked video games and whatever, but I was just not inclined to tech. Like, I went to school and I was just like, I don't think I want to do anything techy, but lo and behold, here I am. So it changed me, and I understand more of without there. I don't want to say I had missed opportunities in life, but I want to say that now I have opened up my opportunities because I decided to really take that leap and learn about the crypto space and the blockchain world. So it was a very interesting transition. It was a very rewarding transition. I feel like I'm, of course, still growing. There's a lot of things for me to learn out there. So, I'll get there. I kind of want to learn about the dark web. I didn't get to experience the Silk Road. Free Ross, hashtag Free Ross. But, it's been a journey, and I've enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Brian, what about you, buddy? How's that transition been from physical to virtual?
just turned 20, so I've been dealing with technology for the majority of my life, ever since I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I remember using a computer, back when Windows Vista was still a thing, and Windows XP, and way back in the day, using, well, I mean, for my case at least. So I've been using technology for the vast majority of my life. So online payments, and PayPal, and debit cards, and online ordering and all that sort of thing. I've always been very comfortable and used to that sort of thing. I've learned about it at a very young age. So adjusting to cryptocurrency was very smooth. It was mostly just kind of looking up when I first discovered it. Hey, how do I set up a crypto wallet? And then within like 5 minutes, I discovered what MetaMask was, and I, had a private key already set up, and, I was already in it. And really, I was just mostly surprised I hadn't discovered it earlier. It was just a, random thing that I was, browsing around and just kind of stumbled upon, and, has since changed my life for the, at least in my opinion, the far, far better. But yeah, so really it's just been as simple as just kind of adding to my already very tech-heavy existence, just another thing to purchase with my, debit card. It was, relatively simple getting Coinbase set up, what was it, whatever, 2-step, 3-step verification, know your customer, whatever authenticator that they have was a little bit of a pain. I wasn't too super used to all the, sending in your ID and all this, very secure kind of information. So that was something new. But, I understand when you're dealing with essentially your own personal bank, and when you're, adding and removing money all day, it's, definitely something that they want to keep as secure as possible. Otherwise, any, random person can log on one day and have all their funds gone. And
I understand the growth that you both have gone through, growing up at a younger age in the beginning of this technology boom. I am just a little bit older than you guys, so I still remember what it was like not having the internet everywhere, but at the same time, I grew up with most of my life with the internet. So you got 3 simple examples of people that adopted to this technology, going from I don't think either of you guys, none of the 3 of us had a beeper in our life, but at least I remember those days where my parents would have to leave because they got a page. Compared to when we first got our first cell phones. Have either of you ever had a flip phone or anything before a smartphone?
Yeah, I actually went through quite a few older generation, phones. I had a good handful of flip phones, a few of the kind of like slide up keyboard phones, a few of the, I definitely had a lot of experience on older tech. And it's funny that you mentioned the beeper, because I just saw a end of the decade video the other week of technology that has died throughout the 2010s past decade, and the pager was one of them. That the last known like working pager service, and I think it was like Japan or Korea or something, just ended their service, and now the beeper, that pager, is essentially non-functional worldwide, but fax machines still apparently work. So it's still holding on. Some people still have typewriters in their garage and basement and whatnot. So technology is still...
grab it from there, because you really brought up something that I was going to talk more about later on, but that gives a great way to transition to talking about the different eras that have passed. As we've entered a new decade. Bitcoin has concluded its 10th year, and we're now 2020, as well as the World Wide Web is now 30. With that, Sir Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web in 1989. Here we are 30 years later with this technology, and you can see all of the other technologies that have died because of this technology. I really can see where there's going to be a lot more technology that kind of goes away because of the internet's growth and development. I want to talk more with you guys about that growth and development as we head into this new decade, and all sorts of new technologies are being discussed literally as we speak over at CES. Have you guys seen anything about CES so far?
Not personally. I know I've been hearing a lot of talks on upcoming, virtual reality technology, what they plan on doing with hand tracking or the next generation of VR headsets, if they're planning on fully, cutting the cord and going with all wireless across the board, or, what that's going to hold. As far as, other forms of tech, I know like smart cars and the, vehicle side of things always impresses me every year at CES. I haven't seen anything this year, but as far as, last year goes as an indication, I'm definitely excited to see what is to, be coming out for the new decade. And I'm sure I'm going to be seeing a lot of amazing tech within the next few weeks as that kind of comes around the corner.
Sitting here talking and my mic is muted. Sorry, guys. So, in terms of CES, I was actually kind of like invited / like supposed to go, but like I didn't. So my friend Pravi, he was one of the only blockchain speakers. He spoke at IE something, which is part of the CES show. And he got to get like free tickets and whatever, and got to like see like the there was like, I think it was like a Mercedes or like a BMW like smart car. I think he posted a picture of like just a bunch of stuff. So but CES has been really cool. I like CES. I like seeing like the different tech options that they have that they come every year, and then I love seeing like the just what the fuck is that. So I think I saw, I think it was last year, not this year, or with another tech conference, a baby diaper that is Bluetooth that tells you if your baby went number 1 or number 2. Okay, I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, I'm sure you can smell that and touch your baby's diaper. So I don't think you need, any radiation next to your newborn baby's ass. So, there's a lot of like funny things out there that they just, it makes sense. I like those tech shows just because you got your yays and then you got your what is this? So.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Don't mean to interject, but I definitely think that's more of a case of like, them thinking whether or not they could and not so much whether or not they should, as far as, a few of those items that you see at some of those tech conventions.
Honestly, you never know because, hey, here in Miami, yours truly, here in during our Basil, a $1,200 banana was sold. So, no, I'm sorry, it was a $120,000 banana. So,
Yeah, that was crazy. Not certain why I got kicked out, but I'm back. And got at least a little bit of Annalise's response. It's crazy to see how much this technology is advancing our lives and how things are changing, and we're progressing so far. CES really helps to bring that front and center to everybody in a great way. So I'm glad for what they do. Some of the gaming news that I can say that I saw from CES so far is MSI's awesome new gaming PC, as well as I'm sure a lot of people have seen the Nintendo Switch handheld console, something that I've always wanted and I had to go buy it once I got the option to, where you can be able to play on the go as well as dock it and be able to play it as a console at home. Now, not only is that for Nintendo's console, but we also have Alienware, who makes gaming laptops, basically made their own version of the Switch. So that's going to be a pretty interesting thing to watch and see if it compares with the Switch at all. Of course, it's going to be playing more of like an Xbox One and PlayStation 4 level games. When you got the PS5 and the Xbox One, Series 1X coming out. Speaking of the PlayStation 5, we got to see the new logo for the PlayStation 5, as well as Sony announced a new car technology. They had a new space-like, I shouldn't say space, but just it looks like something out of a movie that just rolled on stage. And the on the dashboard where you usually see, the speedometer and basically all the information that Tesla would have on that screen on the right, they have that going all along the front of the car, kind of underneath the windshield. So they're showing off their amazing new technology and what they can do. Is there anything that you guys are excited about to see over the next decade?
Flying cars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, flying cars would definitely be cool. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with solar technology, as well as, in particular, if you haven't guessed by now, virtual reality and or augmented reality. I know a lot of companies have been working kind of in like the dark for the past few years, such as Google and I think Facebook. I know Apple's been working on something in the AR field for a while now. So, once that really starts to kick off, and I know that, was it the HoloLens? They just came out with their second version of it for sale for, I think it's for, business use, but, that technology is definitely coming along leaps and bounds through the past couple of years. And as we've seen with VR, since the initial Rift launch back in 2016, that it has evolved very, very rapidly once consumers and the mass media and mass consumers have started taking an interest in getting on board and pushing for the development of games and different projects for it, and just for the like selling out the headsets and giving a real demand for innovation on these new headsets and new versions, and for companies to kind of compete and really drive this market. So that's what I'm really looking forward to for the next decade. Just seeing how with the Quest already coming out with hand tracking, not just controllers that can track your specific fingers, but being able to use cameras to actually detect and track and move your hands without any controllers. I know I just tested the other day both the piano demo as well as Cubism, where you can use the Oculus Quest hand tracking to actually use your individual fingers to press piano keys on a virtual piano, as well as grabbing these 3D blocks and putting them into a kind of like Tetris like puzzle cube that is really just wild, seeing how this technology is going to evolve over the next couple of years.
Yeah, man, there's awesome technology that's out there, and with the processing power of the technology that we have, being so high as is and creating the amazing experiences we're having now, I can only imagine what it's going to be able to do when these technology companies like Intel, like AMD, start to use this technology to benefit in blockchain technology. If I'm not mistaken, I saw AMD has gotten more invested into the blockchain market. Brian, you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, so they actually just, I think it was like a week or so ago, officially joined the Blockchain Gaming Alliance along with Ubisoft and a bunch of other, companies, more and more joining every day. So they're very, very focused on crypto and blockchain as far as the gaming sector and mining. They had such rapid growth. I was reading that within I think it was just like the 2018 year, the first quarter of it, their profits from selling processors and GPUs for mining reached over, I think it was like $1.86 billion or something like that, nearly close to like $2 billion worth of profit from, just crypto related sales alone. So, that just kind of gave them, the push and the idea that, hey, this is something that is here and that we can, profit off a lot of and really help advance the sector of technology. And so they've been investing in a few companies related to blockchain and blockchain gaming for technology, creating new processors and that sort of thing, as well as just game development and that sort of thing. So we're not going to be seeing anything in the next year or two, most likely coming from them specifically related to crypto or blockchain, as they got to develop it and come up with the ideas and test it out and all that sort of thing. But what it does mean is that we are seeing.
Yeah, I was going to
say. But we're seeing a major shift in this in this technology and who's looking at it. Up until recently, we've only had like the very small kind of niche companies, as well as a few of the giants like Microsoft and whatever, looking at crypto and blockchain. But now we're starting to see some of these kind of more powerhouse companies that can really take this technology and run with it and have the funds to do so, to make these rapid changes, which I'm very excited to see come around. Sorry to interrupt you there. You were continuing with.
Not an interruption. You were going, and I love what you had to say towards the end in regards, to summarize it all up. This technology is creating many ways for people to be able to have value spread across multiple platforms in multiple countries without much effort. And the technology that these companies like Intel and AMD are creating allows us to be able to create bigger and better projects that never could have been thought possible today or a couple of years ago. So kudos to them for what they're doing in this field. I know that they're not the only ones that deserve kudos for what they're investing in. There's a lot of other companies that jumped on the ball a lot sooner, as well as other companies that not only are announcing that they're researching, but they're actually announcing products and doing things in this space. And Lisa, I want to bring you back in here and wanted to see if you can bring to light any companies that are worth mentioning that are doing things in this space that the people should know about.
So, let me think here. Companies that are doing things in the space that people should know about. So, my favorite companies to just shout out are always going to be the educational companies that just try to do the best for the community. A lot of people are uneducated. So for that reason, I'm going to give a shout out to the Bitcoin Center in Miami. They're doing a fantastic job to teach the local community, and they're doing a smashing job, right? They just teach the local community. They live stream all their shows. So if you guys go on YouTube and find Bitcoin Center Miami, you can see the live streams that they have. They always have really cool speakers, conference hosts, people like Charles Hoskinson. They always do a fantastic job. That's one of the companies that I'll shout out. Another company that I'll shout out, Coinvention. Coinvention is actually another conference, and it's going on this year. But they, instead of charging people, they're taking donations. So they are on the road for mass adoption. This one's in Philly. So if you guys are ever interested in going to conferences, or if you're in the Philadelphia area, that one is also a really cool conference. Pay is one of the companies that I tell people to always just download. If you're new to cryptocurrency, download the Pay app. It doesn't make you buy anything. It actually works for you. All you do with Pay is you download the app, you hook it up to your debit or credit card, and you earn sats, which are basically the smallest unit of Bitcoin as you use your card. So you're basically getting free crypto as you do your day by day transactions. You don't have to do anything extra. I think I've gotten $50 in Bitcoin already just by going to Target, going to Walmart, just using my card. It's super easy. It's free. You just hook it up to your card. And for anyone who's just getting into cryptocurrency, Cash App. Use Cash App. Buy $5 of crypto every day. Do that little investment. You see Acorns, you see Robinhood, Robinhood has cryptocurrency too, but easiest one to do is Cash App. It has Bitcoin. Just buy $5 a day. Sooner than later, by the end of the year, you'll have $1,000. And the way that Bitcoin moves, your $1,000, maybe $2,000 before you know it. So
absolutely.
I want to say those are the companies that I want to shout out.
I want to take that and say, like, I love how she brought up, Cash App and what they're doing, giving everybody access, really simple, really easy, as well as Robinhood with their platform. Those are companies that were already doing something in the financial space of America and then decided to adapt blockchain, which I think is a courageous move, especially in the finance field where it was frowned upon in the beginning. Whereas, some of the other companies she brought up, the Blockchain Center, they all got into this space because they saw the reason to educate people about this technology. And I want to thank everybody that's showed up, tell you guys a little bit more about who we are. I'm Jerome. Company I'm a part of is called Bits and Tokens. We're a blockchain media company. But we also wanted to be able to bridge the gap between the physical world and the digital world by allowing people to be able to communicate together virtually. I saw a way for us to be able to utilize this technology and allow people to learn with other people all around the world without leaving their home. So the blockchain universe is going to be a community for people to get together and do what they love to do, play games. With playing games, you're able to learn about this technology. So being able to see each of the different hosts engage with others and play games in a way that's going to educate people about this space. So follow along with us. You'll be able to see some amazing adventures. I want you guys to tell us more about yourselves. Annalise, tell us more about why you create the content you do, as well as why you create the virtual events that you create, Brian. Let's start with you, Annalise.
So why do I do what I do? I do what I do, which is create content, because I don't know, I just like doing it. One, if you're going to do something, you might as well like doing it. And then two, I want to teach people that think they can't, that they can. I'm a girl, and girls in the tech space, they don't really exist, or they're not really, interested, or, you have your typical nerd. I'm not necessarily your typical nerd. But because of that, I feel like people are more prone to gravitate towards me, and they ask me questions. And then when I ask people, especially other girls, because I'm not trying to push an agenda on anyone. I don't believe anyone should be in a specific space. I believe that people who are in the blockchain space, as a whole, are special individuals, because we get it. And, it's okay not to get it. Not everyone's going to get it. But I'd like to just start off with the concept whenever I'm talking to someone, do you know about this? And they go, yeah. And if they don't seem interested, or they're kind of just whatever, or oh, I don't think I'll get it. And then I look at them and I'm like, well, do you like being ignorant? And they're like, no. I'm like, what if there's a conversation one day and someone's talking about it? Are you just not going to talk? I always kind of pose those questions, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. When you call somebody literally stupid indirectly, or just kind of blame them, or kind of just pose that, they get this thing just clicks off, because nobody likes being stupid, right? Nobody likes to be called stupid. Nobody likes to be called dumb. So when you kind of make it seem oh, well, you just you just want to be stupid, or you just want to not know, it makes them want to learn. And then in the same way, before you discover something, you don't know about it. So they might not know that they like what I'm trying to teach them. And actually, sometimes that is the case. I've came across a few people that I posed it that way, like pose that question, like, oh, do you know, you don't want to be ignorant, do you? Like, you might as well just, you know a little bit of it. Like, you don't have to like it, but for you to know about it, you know. So, I mean, that's kind of why I do what I do.
And I'm glad that you do what you do, creating the videos that you create for bitsandtokens.com. I think it makes sense that you have to kind of not directly attack them, but make them realize that they're shutting down access to knowledge that they didn't already have. It's sad that that needs to be the approach in order to get them to engage. I love it when somebody's just willing to learn, but not everybody is. I think that there's other ways to get people more willing to learn without making them know that they're going to be learning. And that's what I think is really great about video games. Ryan, tell us a little bit more about blockchain games, what you like about them, and why you create the content you create.
Yes, definitely. So I am huge into blockchain games. That's most of what I upload on my channel. And the reason that I'm into it is because of the idea of digital assets, non-fungible tokens, just kind of asset ownership in the virtual world. So when you're, playing a game, you're spending your time on it, you're spending your money on it, you're going out, you're buying the game, maybe it's free to play, and so you're spending your afternoons on it, you're spending all your free time in between work or maybe school or, in between whatever you're trying to do, and you're not getting anything out of it. So with digital assets, non-fungible tokens, and blockchain games, you're able to take your, favorite items in the game. So say your favorite, a piece of, armor equipment, maybe a helmet or a breastplate, or maybe your favorite sword or axe, or, maybe your favorite wand or staff. And it takes that item and it actually gives it value. It's a digital item that goes into your crypto wallet as opposed to just in your in-game library. And you're able to take it from your crypto wallet and you're able to, trade it to your friend across the world. You're able to, trade it with your friend in your house, or maybe your brother or your mom you want to just send it to. And you can send it to, without fees, day or night, Sunday through Sunday, anytime you want. And there's not going to be any sort of delay. There's no server that's going to be down. There's not going to be any company that's going to be like, oh, you can't transfer it or whatever. You can sell it. You can choose a price for it. And it really just gives you more of a reason to play these games as opposed to just, paying for it and then spending your time, giving your time to the company and giving your, your money and giving them all your, advertisement money and it's more for the user. It really, gives more to the person playing as opposed to just having access to this game, which I really enjoy the idea of. And, that's why I make the videos, because I want to share these games that are coming out. Engine is one company that I always got to give huge props to, because of the fact that, they came out with their SDK for integrating blockchain into games. They made it available on Unreal Engine, on Unity. They're very supportive of all these developers that, are making all these amazing games and want to, include digital blockchain assets into it and actually give value to objects in their game and give value to items for users. And not only giving value to the items, but giving them something that's fun to play. A bunch of the games that are being worked on for Engine and just in blockchain gaming in general, at least some of the more intricate ones, are incredibly fun. Crypto Space Commanders, for a prime example, very, very fun space shooter. It's a Dissolution, first-person shooter. It's got some zombie, mode. It's got, flying around zero-G suits, and it's got gun skins and, weapon skins and all that you can, trade and are stored in your wallet, that the value is, going to rise, that they have limited quantities of, a few weapons that, is like one of one. So if you collect it, it's stored in your wallet, it's only going to gain value, and you can, sell it to whoever. Maybe that skin is used in a separate blockchain game that you can transfer it over to. The possibilities are really endless. And this is all still so new within the next decade. Within this new, the 2020s, we're definitely going to be seeing that explode and really seeing the emergence of people owning the items that they get in games. And that really just gets me excited. And so that's really why I do what I do on the gaming front.
Yeah, I get it, man. Being able to own your own items, having those digital assets that you own, hold control. Going back to the beginning when we were talking about proof of keys day, if you have Bitcoin but you don't have your keys, you don't have Bitcoin. If you're playing Fortnite and you're buying skins but you don't actually have those skins, you don't have the downloadable ID up for that pack, you don't actually own the skin that you buy in Fortnite. Epic owns them. You can't transfer those to other games unless Epic allows you, which is why it's great to see this technology that's decentralized and available, just like Android, just like so many other open source platforms, where you can then be able to buy a digital asset and upload it to a different game and be able to use that cross platforms. And it's amazing what we're going to be able to do with technology. And it's great that, if you're watching this, you're an early adopter. You're getting onto this early. Not everybody is going to understand this at first, just like not everybody understood a credit card at first. Not everybody understood a cell phone at first, yet it's things that we use on a day-to-day basis. Just like you said at the beginning, it's going to get to a point where people don't even realize that they're utilizing the blockchain, which is what I'm talking about, why I love utilizing blockchain games to be able to educate people about blockchain. It's a great way to really get engaged by gamifying the education platform. So you're going to see a lot of blockchain games that we'll talk about, that we'll play. Each of us have a handle that we live stream on to play our games. I'm the Token Gamer. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Token Gamer. Annalise, where can the crowd find you?
So I'm Annalise, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube is going to be at Bits and Tokens. Everywhere else, it's just going to be Annalise_BNT.
Brian, where can they find you, my brother?
So you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, most social medias at Block Decentral. If you can't find me there, I'm going to be Fandom Games everywhere else, including Oculus. If anyone's trying to play any VR games, going to be doing a lot more live streaming of VR titles in the near future. So definitely friend me on there, and we can get some multiplayer matches going.
Fantastic, guys! I can't wait to play more games with you. I can't wait to show our audience what blockchain gaming is all about, how you can be able to utilize this technology. One of the key things that I want people to understand about blockchain gaming is you can get paid to play. As you're playing these games, if you're winning, if you're earning, you can be able to transfer those funds out of the game into BTC at an exchange like Coinbase or like Cash App, and then you can be able to liquidate that and have cash that you can use at the store. Why wouldn't you want to play these games? So it's only going to get better as more people adopt and grow to this technology. You could find out more about these games and upcoming games that are going to utilize this technology at our upcoming conference, the Blockchain Universe Gamers Conference. We're calling it Bugsy. You want to tell people more about Bugsy, Annalise?
Sure. So Bugsy is literally BUGC. It stands for the Blockchain Universe Gamer Conference. That is going to be actually next Saturday. Yeah, I keep forgetting blockchain because next week. So that's next Saturday. It's going to be here in Altspace, guys. So it's a gamers conference. You're going to get to meet companies. Companies will be doing giveaways. It's going to be, everything's going to be virtual. It's free to attend, of course. It's going to be held here in Altspace. If you guys follow me or add me as a friend, Bits and Tokens, or my lovely co-host, either one next to me, Block Decentral, they will be able to give you more information. We can keep in touch. The conference, again, is going to be next Saturday. It's going to be from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. There's going to be giveaways. There's going to be panels, Q&As. It is a gamer conference, so feel free to attend.
Thank you. That's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time next Saturday, right here in Altspace. In this very room, we'll be having representative of different companies coming through and talking to you guys about Bugsy, the Blockchain Universe Gamers Conference. Look out for Annalise's video on Bits and Tokens soon, as we'll be sharing more information about the event coming up. Anything else you want to close with, Brian?
No, that sounded good. Thanks everyone for listening. I plan on doing this every Tuesday.
If you have any feedback, feel free to email me at jerome@itsandtokens.com. Thank you guys for listening to the Blockchain Universe Gamers podcast. Signing out.